What's up, world? This is Raul with Live Loud, coming at you guys again with another episode of Say It Loud. So one of the main reasons, again, why I launched this, to really hear about the stories that got us there. My mission in Live Loud is to really create awareness of the world around us. I want to celebrate people. I want to go ahead and tell their story in the way that they're serving other people, but not for the sake of just sharing it. I really want to go and create a pivot in people's lives and give people the opportunity for that insight, that moment of awareness, knowledge, the curiosity that really propels them getting to the next level. So today my guest is Sonia, and Sonia is one of these people who I think is one of the greatest leaders in my community of being able to just be so mission-based on educating people on how to be a leader, how to be empowered, how to utilize their resources, gain new tools, and how to apply them. So Sonia, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, it's a pleasure. I'm so happy to be here.
Absolutely. We'll get into this later on, but I love working with you. It's always magic. It's always fun. And it's just your mission on what you're doing is I'm really aligned with. So let people know what you are up to in the world.
Yeah. So I am the founder and the CEO for Dignity of Children. We've been in existence since 2008 for the purpose of creating environments where children are safe and fully self-express. And this is my mission. The mission is, imagine every environment that children are in, there's an opportunity for them to express themselves fully for who they are inside out. And I think that's our future. I think our children are our vehicle for transforming our world. And we have to begin with them now.
Yeah, absolutely. And the mission being to go and impact or create that space for children to evolve into their greatest self and given the tools that they need to flourish individually, right? So it's not this cookie cutter, this applies to all, but really being able to identify and work with them so that way they create an opportunity that's just unprecedented. And you do that through teaching people how to educate them. Yes. So how is it that you work with your people? Let people know what your platform, how this works.
Our main population that we work with are after school professionals. So after school are agencies that work with young people out of school time. So when the kids get out of school, they go to community centers, they go to after schools in their same school. Right now, they're going to after school on the computers. They go to Saturday programs and they get exposed to a lot of extra curricular activities with other adults. So that's our main focus, but we also do work with parents and homeschooling.
Yeah, I really love that you take multiple approaches. It's like every single time I talk to you, every time we catch up, it's like, yeah, so this last year we launched these 3 different levels of the platform. And it's like, there's always new innovative ways that you are going to implement that. So it's not just, okay, this is how we do that, but the mission, it seems like the mission is what really drives you, and how you attack the mission from different ways it's really been amazing. So where does this come from? Where does your inspiration or your motivation to go and make an impact to you come from?
Well, I have two avenues. One is my own experience as a child and growing up as an adult, learning disability. People look at it as dyslexia. You know, this is something that I didn't know was a challenge for me, but as I experienced my life, I realized that this is something that is more common around most of our kids than the exception, right? So when I was growing up, it seemed like I was the exception. I grew up in a household of 7. I'm the youngest of the youngest.
Oh, okay.
and the reason I say that is because I'm a twin, and my experience as a twin really made that distinction of my academic abilities were very low and my sister's academic abilities were very high. We're in the extreme, right? So in a household where we had a dual language. So my family migrated from Dominican Republic to Puerto Rico to the Bronx. We spoke Spanish in the household, and we also went to school and learned English. So my sister and I were the youngest. We went to school, we learned English, and then when we would come back home, we had a household full of Spanish-speaking adults And Elizabeth and I will speak English to each other because none of the adults really paid any mind to us, right? So I felt that there was this sense of adults being in the room, but not really present to our needs as a child. But the distinction for me really came with, and this is a pivotal moment in my childhood where I think I was about maybe 8 or 9, somewhere around there, because I was in elementary school, and my grandmother, which was our primary caretaker, was waiting for a letter. My grandmother, she grew up in Dominican Republic and didn't pass a 3rd grade school. Yeah. So when I saw that the letter was in the mail that she was waiting for, I was so excited. I was like, Mama, here, you got your letter. Could I read it? And she just ripped it off my hand and said, no, you can't read. Let your sister read it.
Oh.
And at that moment, my whole excitement of, I still feel it in my throat. It's like, oh. And through my elementary school years, and, I remember being taken away for resource room. And when we would get our report card, my sister will have like 3 grades above her reading level, and Sonia would be 3 grades below her reading level, So I grew up in an environment where the academic really mattered. Of course, being my immigrants and migrating to the States, it was about education. And although I never got left back, I never failed a class, I was still very much chastised for my ability to write and speak. Who's to say what that looks like now as an adult? I had another experience as an adult, as a professional, where my supervisor, I shared that I got diagnosed like in college, right? So in college, I was like, oh, got it. I just read differently. I just need to learn differently. It really is what my identity was. But I was still very cautious, right? Because in a professional environment, when you write or you speak, people judge you and they start creating a space of like, oh, she's probably not that bright, or she's probably not capable. So there was those challenges that I was struggling with to demonstrate my capacity and to demonstrate my intelligence. So I was in a pretty high position and I was overseeing quite a big, portfolio. And my supervisor, for some reason, he was told that I had a learning disability. From that moment on, not only did I feel discriminated against throughout all of my tenure with this organization, but I also embodied the lack of. Like, I remember the experience of feeling so paranoid that someone is going to catch my misspelling or somebody's going to catch me saying something wrong, that I kept doing more of that. I kept misspelling stuff. I kept, speaking in inappropriate, like saying the wrong word for a content or mispronouncing things. And I found that in that experience for myself is where I got the strength to do the mission that I have for Dignity of Children. Because what I'm really getting is, it's not really about the children's capacity. It's really about what the children feel about themselves. It's who you are and how you show yourself. Because let me tell you, I know, I know my intelligence and I know my creativity. And through Dignity of Children, what I get to do, not only motivate and inspire and encourage leaders to be leaders, but to also have them understand the need of children is more of, let me work with your self-esteem. Let me work with your confidence in yourself. And we focus so much on the hard skills of our young people, especially our young people that look like me. We focus on you could read better, you could do math better, you need a better grade. Those are all hard skills. when we focus on the soft skills, on how I feel, what matters to me, who are the relationships that I want to build, how do I feel confident on things that I can do? Like, I'm a great dancer, and nobody knows that because that's not what my career is, right? But I can get on the dance floor. If we focus more on what children can do, yeah, and build their sense of self versus what they can't do, which is these hard skills that we're putting so much attention to, mm-hmm, our children will feel this sense of, I could do whatever I put my mind to.
Yeah.
Be whoever I am. To fast forward from the days of, feeling low self-esteem and inadequate and stuff. Fast forward, I am a doctorate candidate. I'm in the process of writing my dissertation. And the funny part is that when I'm writing my paper, I have my advisor, and my advisor is like, you're so brilliant. She is the perfect advisor for me because she keeps sharing with me what my talents are and where my intelligence is. And I just feel that I have so much more to offer, mm-hmm, in this environment as an adult. Mm-hmm. As an adult.
Yes.
So that's my mission. My mission is that every child should be in that type of environment, that they have adults around them that encourage them to be who they are from the inside out.
I really love that because it's, there's so many nuggets of thought that you just shared that are so crucial, right? It's us, the affirmation on what we believe in, or the point of reference on how other people interpreted us. I would imagine you being a kid and the letter being taken from you, and that experience of how often, do we compare ourselves to what's going on, but you have a twin. It's kind of like another version of you. And
yes,
now that person being praised is reflecting, is kind of looking at the mirror of all of that you're not.
Yes.
And that idea of believing that and making that to be true is, I would imagine, is such a monumental motivation on what I choose to accept in my life, right? There's so many kids I think today that are just like, okay, cool, you're diagnosed with ADHD, that you're diagnosed with this, you're diagnosed with that. And now you have to accept that now your vision of what could be has to be lower because your condition's one. That's not the case. That's not the case. You might have a different set of obstacles in front of you, but knowing or being reinforced in that confidence on how you could achieve that I think is such a monumental part of an individual drive that I might take a little bit longer. It might be a little bit harder, but I believe I can be there because I get to.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I have been able to do with my company, which is like the total opposite of what you would think I would be doing, because I can't spell. And honestly, thank God for Grammarly. I love, not only Grammarly, but in the future, I'm going to do like instant spell check whiteboards. So why that's going to be like one of my prototypes. So why I'm writing on the board in front of a room full of 50, 60 people. And I remember getting stuck on how to spell a simple word like want. I would freeze and I would find myself getting really anxious because if I spell this wrong, I'm going to get chastised.
Yeah.
And so I overcame that because you know what? I kept spelling it wrong. And then just dealing with whatever came at me. And what I started doing was like, you know what? I'm going to give you a disclaimer. I can't spell. I'm going to come up here and do my very best. And if you have a hard time with my misspelling, here's the marker.
Write it for me.
Be my guest, or I've gotten over it. Will you?
Yeah. And I feel like you stop measuring your level of greatness by what you can't do, but by paying attention to what you can do. Yes. And being masterful at that.
Yes.
And I hear that from your advisor, also from what the mission that you're up to is not just lip service. I think another thing that I'm not quite sure about, I don't really quite know how I feel. I'm not a big fan on you're special because you're special. fine. I see a lot of parents do that now. I can't say because I don't have kids, but what I do see is like, yes, you're special because of this, or you're great at this. Let's affirm you with what you're actually putting out there and reinforcing it, rather than just the idea of me showing up is perfectly fine, which it is. It's perfectly fine. We're perfect where we are at. But if we want to continue working towards where we want to get to, it's really being able to highlight our tools, our strengths, and being able to build on those. So I love that you find your bespoke. I mean, what I see you do in your platform is really develop the leadership into that, right? Like, it's not just you educating people on these academic structure of what exists, but their own being, right?
Mhm.
You know about this. It's not about what we're doing, it's who we're being. And if we could strengthen those pieces, the possibilities are limitless.
Yeah. Here's one distinction that I like to say. We look at our children and we start labeling them through their behaviors.
Mhm.
So they behave a certain way, and then we say, this is who you are, right? That's not who they are. That's a behavior. A behavior gets to be changed. A behavior gets to be developed. A behavior gets to be expand, right? So when we start addressing our children, if we address them to who they are as a human being inside, your soul, I see who you are. You know, you are a creative, magnificent, beautiful person, you know, that's who you get to be in the world. And then you get to then choose your behavior.
Yeah.
Your behavior then becomes an evolvement of who you are, an extension of who you are, not who you are, right? So we as adults tend to look at our kids and name and call them names, lazy. The more you say you're lazy, the more they are lazy.
Yeah.
The more you say you're not smart, the more they're not smart. You know, these labels that we have for our kids, ADHD, and I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but those are our brilliant people. If you like, let's do some history on these people that have overcome a
Yeah.
lot of outcomes. They're going to be listing learning disability, dyslexia, ADHD. They're going to be listing all of these things that all of us are afraid of.
Yep.
And that was their pushing to overcome whatever challenges they had. It's like, okay, this is just a challenge. I'm going to overcome this. And it just made me stronger, it made me smarter, it made me powerful.
Right. And that, yeah, I completely agree. Not to negate that the fact that that doesn't exist, but even the fact that doesn't exist, what are we measuring the level of success, or how valuable what you have to offer, how valuable it is compared to what measurement, right?
Yes.
Oh, so you have this, so therefore you don't align with the standard. And because you don't align with the standard, doesn't necessarily mean you don't have something magnificent to offer, right? So, and I completely agree. I think this message is so powerful to educators, to parents, but our individual selves. What do we make up about our behaviors that we define is us?
Yes.
We say, oh, well, that's just the way I am.
Mm-hmm.
That's a choice. That's really a choice. And do you want to identify yourself with that? Or do you see something greater? And do you have the courage to start exercising something other than what you made up about yourself a long time ago? Because someone said it, or because you believed it yourself? With this message, again, another reason why I launched Say It Loud is with people who are at home right now, I think I want to gear it towards your profession, you know, what you do in your platform. For the educators, for the parents, or the people that you offer your services for, what can people start doing right now to develop the way they do their things?
Wow. One is, you know, make an assessment of the habits that are in the home, especially if if you have multiple kids. We need to really make an assessment of what are the habits that we are doing in the household that supports our values. And I really feel very powerful about this, because we don't sit down and say, hey, these are our values. So let's just go for an example, which is impacting everybody, is I was trying not to even say the word, which I'm not going to say the word, but health habits. We need to be healthy.
Yeah.
one of our habits could be just being healthy. How, as a family, what do we need to do to stay healthy?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you take the value and you do a big brainstorm with the families. What are the behaviors? What are the habits that is important for us to stay healthy? Right now, washing hands. Washing hands, taking off our clothes when we come in from the outside so we don't infect the people that are inside, and going straight to the shower. That's a healthy habit that we didn't think about before. Some of us may have had it, but we didn't think about it before. So all of a sudden, we're creating these new habits because of this new circumstance that we're in. That's an example of, let's have real deeper conversations as a unit to decide how we're going to live our world. You know, leadership and empowerment is something else. We all have something to offer, some part of us that's going to contribute to this transformation of the world, right? So we're in this place. So identify, this is like number 2, identify your children's superpowers.
Yes.
I love using the word superpowers because, you know, we all have superpowers. And it is just living that, right? It's like, this is my superpower. So some of your young children are so brilliant in being resourceful or very creative, or they love the debate. You know, your superpowers is defending your opinion. That's a superpower because you were great at that debate. You know what I mean? So let's define our children's superpowers and get them engaged into something that really matters to them.
Yes.
So I know education is hard, but what I'm finding and I'm experiencing from some of the feedback of my population is that kids are just doing academic all the way through, all day. Right now we're doing more work because we're doing less commuting.
Mm-hmm.
So we need a break from the academic and what I call hard skills, and let's focus on the soft skills. Let's develop our children's self-esteem. Let's think about how they could do more social collaboration, even online like we're doing now. Let's think about how to develop their self-confidence. Let's do more soft skills with our children so we won't lose the next society.
That's really so powerful. Yes. What is your kid's superpower? As an educator, as a parent, what is your superpower, right? As yourself, even yourself, whoever's listening to this, what is your superpower? What is it that you offer? I think that's really magnificent on focusing on being proactive rather than reactive.
Yes.
As you know, there's coming from also like a Latin household is a pórtate bien, you know, like do what you're supposed to do. You know, it's like, cut it out. You're doing what you're supposed to do. All right. You're supposed to be a good student. You're supposed to be clean. You're supposed to be all that stuff. Right. But approaching education or instilling healthy habits as a family, as a unit, as people, as you're saying, doesn't have to always come from a very disciplinary type of place. It could be a constructive, okay, this is our struggle or this is what's occurring. How do we be proactive with creating a possible solution and making it a strength by relying on our superpowers or our strengths? I think that's really beautiful. All right. So Sonia, thank you so much for sharing your story. I really think that's amazing. For everyone listening, again, as a parent, as an educator, there's so much that we could be doing right now. Sonia, if you could plug in where people can follow your work, if people are interested in getting certified or looking to take this venture and to really benefit from your services, where can people find you?
Absolutely. So dignityofchildren.com, Twitter, Dignity Now, at Dignity Now. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook at Dignity of Children, on Instagram at Dignity of Children. I have to say, check out our website. We have a new product called Ideas Empowered by Youth. And this is where we want to support parents and educators to begin allowing our kids to process what we're going through right now and create products and solutions and ideas that will help solve our world issues. And I just can't say more about that. It's just, I'm excited that we have the opportunity as a community to grow and pivot. We have to change our ways of how we think our children learn.
Yeah.
And create a new environment for them to learn and be powerful influencers in our future, positive influencers for our communities. And that's my plug.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, guys, for everyone listening, take a look around. I think there's multiple ways on how you can be involved and how you can develop yourself as a leader. Again, in the education world, but even as itself, there's every time I get to work with you, Sonia, you always give me these little nuggets of thought to walk away with, and we're far from done. It's been such a pleasure to see you grow and develop over these years. And so thank you for everything you do and who you are. All right, guys, so for everyone listening, stay tuned to more episodes of Say It Loud, where we get to hear more stories from incredible people, what stuff they're up to. LiveLOUD really loves to work with people on unraveling people's story and how to shout it out to the world so that we create the results that we intend to. And it's my privilege to be able to go and share these stories with some of my favorite people around the world. Stay tuned to more coming up. Much love, guys.